right, Caleb and I are back in the garage, and it's the end of the season of 2021. We ended up trying out drifting and got hooked. We got hooked really good. So we kind of decided that we're going to build our cars to be drift cars officially. And so this 2022 season, me and Caleb are gonna tear down both of our cars and we're just gonna make things more simple for the both of us when we need to maintain these vehicles, and that way we can drive them for longer on the track and
keep them cool. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, keeping these JZs cool is kind of difficult. I don't know. So other people figure it out. We're still learning.
Our setups are pretty basic. On the street, they're fine. They stay within temps unless you're in traffic. But doing lap after lap, bouncing off the rev.
Yeah, spinning out and bouncing off the rev limiter. So we're gonna show you right now. We're gonna show you guys a couple of our clips that we captured this season. Our short season. I think we started in what? The end of we started in like September-ish area, right?
Yeah, it was like mid.
Somewhere around there. We started really late this season and we got hooked, like I said, and we both decided that we want to build our cars to be pretty legit. So I think we have the tools and the manpower and the knowledge to do that. But I'm gonna throw in a couple clips here, and
don't laugh at me spinning out.
Don't laugh at us spinning out.
He's gonna drift.
So here we go, as usual sight. Caleb's car's all tore apart.
Whatever.
So you want to talk about what your plans are to make 2022 drift season better?
1,000 horsepower. So like we said earlier, I'm having temp issues too. And I was originally gonna go with a bigger radiator, but I'm gonna try sticking with that one with bigger fans. Not running a thermostat. I think the radiator is sitting too low, so we're gonna do some work to try and get it higher. Maybe add a swirl pot, something. Yeah, I just had random issues throughout the season, just working out kinks, mainly temp related. So,
And as you can see, he doesn't have much room because he was having intake air temp issues, and obviously that's from this tiny guy. So this got to get replaced for a bigger intercooler.
yeah.
But we both knew that, so that was just temporary. But on top of that, he's got the air filter, and it's sitting in the hot engine bay right next to the radiator. So that's another thing that we're gonna have to look into.
Radiator,
in the wastegate right there. So that's another thing that we have to look into, possibly relocating or figuring out something for that. But also we really should do swirl pots to get that get the highest point up there. What about some other things that you might do? Obviously he has no radio in the car. It's pretty bare bones.
Yep.
So
Need a
that's something nice.
battery. Definitely got some wires to tuck and clean up back there. I want to paint the engine bay, redo this mess. a lot of the stuff, and I don't know if this was in the last video on this car, but we were in a time crunch trying to get it to the scheduled dyno day, and some of the stuff wasn't done how we normally would have done them, and paid the price drifting, and now we got the time to rip it back apart and do it right. So
we definitely learned from a lot of people at the track, and just having issues, we learned a lot of things that we need to fix and simplify.
yeah, there's other guys running 1Js, stock 1Js with no heating issue or no temp issues, no issues at all. They can just run back to back to back laps, but they've got oil coolers and massive fans and like the perfect, I kid you not, the perfect setup you could imagine. So we're gonna do oil coolers, oil filter relocations, stuff like that, like he said, to make it easier to work on it. Had a problem with my brakes. When I get into boost and let off, I've got pretty much no brakes. So I don't know, Mercedes does some weird stuff. I'm gonna look into that, otherwise might just upgrade. But
All right, moving on.
So suspension. Obviously we got the coilovers in here still. They're a little soft, but I think they just need to be adjusted. Angle kit is in the angle kit. I don't want to do it, but it's probably needed. So probably end up doing that. The rears, I finally got my camber arms.
Yeah, he got all of the arms when he rebuilt this whole rear subframe. Got all the arms but the camber arm right there, so he finally just got that in after almost a year.
Yep. So that'll go in. That'll help me get the rear a little bit better dialed in.
All right, moving on to the interior. What do you got planned?
So in the interior, we also learned it's probably a good idea to add some hydros. So we're gonna add a hydro here and in his car. Obviously I've got some wiring to make it look a little bit better there. Short shifter possibly. Just overall make it look a little bit better, more practical.
Yeah, definitely need to add a sound system. It's nice when you're sitting in line at a drift event or even just cruising around just to be able to jam out.
That too. So what are we doing over here?
All right, so moving on to my car. I have a lot of work ahead of me. I am going to do a tube front because I have no room to fit a radiator. I mean, they make the Chase Bays ones, but I just want to do a tube front. It'll clear up a lot of room. The whole car is getting body kit, unfortunately. Fortunately, I never thought I'd say I would do a body kit, but
It's gonna look sick though.
yeah. So that's in the works. But basically, I got my built 2J right here. I just finished up 2J GT fully built, and that's gonna go in. I got big cams. The head's already got springs, retainers, all that good stuff. Engines, that's pretty much it for the engine. Just put my built bottom end on there and go get a retune from Sound Performance and run that.
All right, moving on to suspension.
Yeah, so suspension, when I started drifting, I didn't have, it was a stock angle. And then I had this angle kit laying around. I threw it on there just to see how it was. It's kind of a janky setup that I have right now, so.
But it works.
But it worked. It'll work better as a spare for me, so I'm gonna do a whole new angle kit. Coilovers, they're pretty much shot, so I'll do some new coilovers, and in the rear, I have a lot of work to get done in the rear. I need to do basically a whole new rear end. I got, right now, if you look back in here, I got a 350Z diff axles and all the arms, but the bushings on the arms are all shot. Like I said up front, even in the rear, the rear coilovers are shot. It's just old equipment, and I need to update all that stuff. And I have been having this issue with blowing up axles, so I blew up probably a dozen axles in the past 5 months.
You don't have that problem on this good German quality over here.
Yeah. So I also been running with LSD differential out of a 350Z. So I'm gonna weld that up, do the arms, basically do everything in the rear end, and I'm possibly gonna do a dual caliber with the hydro. So in the interior, as you can see, all this dust, I had a little accident at the track. I had my fire extinguisher.
I didn't know about that.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, my fire extinguisher came off the mount and blew up inside of the car while I was mid-drift.
Is it on video?
No.
Oh, man.
It was bad, though. It was really bad. You couldn't breathe when it blew up in your face. I stopped in the drift, and I've been having starter issues with this car. So when it blew up, I stalled it. I stalled the car when the fire extinguisher blew off. And I couldn't start it back up, and I was in the middle of the track. I was like, fuck, and there's people drifting too right behind me. It was a shit show. So definitely got a lot of work to do on the interior. I need to do a hydro, because right now I just have that drift button, but the stock rear drum brakes weren't working for me when I was trying to drift. So hydro's on the list. Clean up the interior.
Seat belts.
Some new seat belts.
Those suck.
Yeah.
Sorry, Takata, but
Possibly some new seats. They're fine. They work for right now. Not trying to blow my whole bank account. But I do have a lot of work ahead for this car. So a lot of things to come up here that you guys see in the videos.